Hi everyone, and welcome to our March webcast for this year so far. We are covering Moodle and GoTo integration overview today. I'm very excited actually to be introducing GoTo integration. It's just been released, so this is our official release of GoTo today, and I know a number of you are online who have been expecting this and waiting for this to come out, so welcome. It's good to have you here. What I'm not covering today is, just to let you know, I'm not going to be looking at Moodle and GoTo in depth. It's really just an overview of how the integration process works with Association Online. So I'm not going to show you a Moodle course or a GoTo course or webinar or anything like that. But it's more about what we will be looking at is just sort of looking at how the process will work, what it does, how it works, how we set it up, how it works on a user perspective from a user side, how users register, and how you can, as an admin, set it up and view those registrations as well. So as I mentioned, it's not an in-depth training session, it is an overview. So we're really just giving you an example of how it would work for you. So firstly, why? Why would we do this? Why would we integrate Moodle and GoTo with Association Online? So some of you, I'll explain a bit more about Moodle and GoTo in a moment, but some of you already use it, some of you may be curious to see what it is. But basically, Moodle and GoTo integrate with the AO events module, so Association Online events. So it could be a one-stop shop for a user to register for a Moodle or GoTo. They don't have to do it in two places or through Moodle or GoTo directly. They can do it through your system. And therefore, it can integrate with your financials. They can create an invoice from your Association Online system. Okay, so it's another form of integration. It can automatically mark attendance in your event. Okay, so someone has completed their course or attended a GoTo webinar, the system can automatically go, yep, you're done, thank you, you're attended. And therefore, if you use certificates, the certificates will be automatically generated based on that attendance, as well as CPD points. And I'll explain that in a bit more information through this webcast as well. But they're just some of the benefits of doing, having this integration. Just makes life a bit easier for you all. So firstly, what is Moodle? If you don't know, Moodle is an online learning management system. It is designed for users to create online learning material, e-courses for their students. If you want more information about Moodle, I'm not here to promote Moodle. It's someone of Moodle's job. So if you want more information, you can go to moodle.org if you want to know more about what they do. I would say that some of you on here today are probably already using Moodle or about to. That might be the case. How Moodle works in our system, though, is basically as an administrator, you would create the course in Moodle. The user enrolls via Association Online through the website. They get a single sign-on. So they don't have to go into well, they do have to go into the Moodle site, so they'd receive an email with the link to the Moodle course. But if they open that up in the same browser as your website, they'll be signed in straight into Moodle. So it's like a single sign-on. It's a seamless process. They don't have to sign in again or create a separate sign-on. Then they do their course, they learn and test, do the assessments, and they're certified and accredited. Okay, that's basically how it works. Hosting Moodle. Moodle is not hosted by ASI, by us, it is hosted externally. Okay, so we don't do the hosting of Moodle, we would just do the integration with Association Online. So you can use your own host if you already have a host for your Moodle instance, or we have a preferred partner called Preflight. Okay, so you can go to their website and have a look if you like. Once you've sorted out your hosting of your Moodle, then come back to us and we would install it. Okay, we install and configure the module with your hosting information. Once it's installed, there is a single sign-on process for administrators as well. So you can sign into Moodle in the browser with the same Association Online login as well. Okay, so you basically would go into Moodle, you're signed in the back end of Association Online, have Moodle open in a separate browser, not a separate browser, in the same browser in a separate tab. and you'll be signed in there as well. Then the administrator, you guys as administrators would create the course in Moodle, and then we'd set it up in Association Online after. So we'll come back to that. That's Moodle. What is GoTo? So our Association Online integration with GoTo is for the GoTo training and GoToWebinar systems. So what is that? So it's an online presentation platform where you can present to hundreds of people using GoToWebinar at one time, or deliver interactive online training programs using GoTo Training. They have recording capability, post-training surveys, so on, so on. I'm not going to explain any more. Again, you could go to the GoTo website for more information, but also because we're using it right now. You're on GoToWebinar right now. So this is an example of what GoTo does. If you are going to use GoTo, the basic process will be to set up the module, then create your webinar or training session in GoTo, add it to your event, the users register for the event, they get the link, and then you monitor their registration and their completion. That's it. GoTo installation is slightly different to Moodle. As I mentioned, you would get a host for Moodle and then contact us to install it for you. We would do all the installation and configuration. But with GoTo, you can actually set up your own GoTo connection with online instructions in the GoTo setup area. So I'm going to show you that. Here we are. So we would install GoTo for you, and it would sit on your events section of the back end of your system. Don't worry about my little errors, but in setup, because I currently don't have a GoTo connection. GoTo, if you want to test it, GoTo Training and GoToWebinar have a free 7-day trial. So you can set up a trial as well. That's what I did recently to write the manual, but obviously my trial is completed. So that's why it's not syncing anymore. When you come to set up your GoTo, there is some instructions, step 1, step 2, step 3, that you can follow online on what to do, what information to put in to connect you and sync your GoTo with Association Online. Once you've set it up, we as ASI staff can assist you with that if you need it, but also we would then set up the syncing of the scheduled task to sync your GoTo with your Association Online. So every hour, it would just review what webinars have you added, what registrations have been added, and it will sync together and update, basically. Once you've set up your Moodle and you go to events, you can go to the events module in Association Online. Both Moodle and GoTo integration is supported in events through an eLearning tab. There will be an eLearning tab in your event area and your event details. There are automated emails that are automatically sent on completion of the event. There are email placeholders you can add to your emails that are sent out from the events module as well, which I'll explain shortly. And of course, as I mentioned, the attendance will be marked as well. Okay, so that's they're all the benefits of it as well. So let's look at the eLearning tab first. Okay, so when this is installed for you, we will also add an eLearning tab, okay, in your events area. And there are some fields that you need to set your conditions for your eLearning. The Moodle fields and the GoTo fields are slightly different, and then there's some elements that are the same. So let's have a look at that. I'm just going to go into an event. Okay, here we go. Here's my event, how to create an event webinar. Okay, I'm going to the Details tab, and here's my eLearning tab. Now, in this situation, I've got some Moodle fields here. Moodle course, which role to give the registrant, and Moodle registration. I don't have a Moodle configuration. I don't use Moodle at this point in time, but how it looks, I will explain to you through the user guide. Both GoTo integration and Moodle integration have user guides, and I'll guide you to where they are after this webcast as well. In the Moodle user guide, we have a section here called Link Event with the Moodle course. This is how you do it. Okay, so in the eLearning tab, the first field listed here is what course are you choosing from? And that is linked to the Moodle section in the back end, all the courses that you've created that have been synced through Moodle. So there'll be a drop-down list of courses for you to select from. So what event does this course relate to? Then create Moodle registration. When do you want this registration to occur? There's some options I'm going to explain below. Do not enroll user in a Moodle course. This isn't actually an e-learning course. Or enroll them when registration is completed. Whether they've paid or not, they may have chosen to pay direct deposit or check or another form of payment that is not an online payment. So you can say, look, anytime they've completed, whether they've paid or not, give them the registration. Or you can choose to register them when payment is made. Okay, if they pay online, if they pay with a credit card, registration is created immediately. Or if they pay with an offline method payment, registration is created when you mark them as payment received in the order list. Okay. And then what role are we giving the registrants in this event? The default role is learner. There are some other roles like facilitator, trainer, but this is going to apply to everyone that registers for this event. So generally use the default of learner. Okay, so that's the Moodle, the 3 Moodle items. If you haven't got Moodle and you've only got GoTo, you will not see these at all anyway. Okay. The GoTo ones for webinar are these ones, register for webinar. And again, there's the same options. When do you want them registered? When they've completed registration or when payment is made? And which webinars are we going to register them for? If I click in this field, there's a list of webinars that have been synced. I've only got a couple in here at the moment. Okay, so you can have the good thing about GoToWebinar is you can have multiple webinars in there as well. Okay, so if you have an event like a webinar series and you want them to pay for the whole series, you create one event and add multiple webinars and they're registered for all of them. They'll get the links to all of them. Okay, so that's an option as well. So they're the conditions there. There are also some settings that may or may not be relevant to you depending on what your system is set up for. If you do use event certificates or the CPD module, there are some options here. When to generate the certificates and when to generate CPD activities. Okay, so there's some options here. When are we generating the event certificates? When all of the following are met, either Moodle course completion, GoToWebinar attendance, or event attendance. So there's a little bit of a difference there. GoToWebinar attendance is if they've clicked on the GoToWebinar link and been to the webinar, or event attendance is when attendance is marked in the system, okay, which is a setting further below. And same with the CPD activities is the same situation. When are you going to generate those CPD points? And then the last setting here is mark attendance as yes on when either they complete the course or GoToWebinar attendance. That's going to automatically, this is what's going to trigger that automatically marking attendance. If you don't want to automatically mark attendance, so I'll give you an example. If someone goes to a webinar, okay, Moodle's slightly different because Moodle will rely on them to complete the course. But GoToWebinar attendance can be based on whether they attended 1 minute of the webinar or the whole webinar themselves or the whole webinar. So if you want to, not give them the attendance and points based on them attending 1 minute, because maybe they know that and they can just attend 1 minute, that's fine. If you don't want to do that, you cannot just leave this section blank, leave this field blank and manually mark attendance, which will then generate the CPD and certificates as well. Okay, so there's an option there as well. But I can give you more detail about that if you decide to go ahead with it. Now, emails. So, yep, you've set up your settings. The next thing you need to set up are your emails. So you can customize emails. There are a number of placeholders that you can add e-learning details to your event emails, such as the list of webinars and the registration links. So they're the URLs. okay, or the Moodle course details. So that's in order to get those, in order to get that information to those users, you need to set it up in the email. Okay, so you can customize it on a per event basis, or you can set it up in the default emails. It's up to you. But if we have a look in our email templates, you can see there's a number of placeholders now. You'll see the GoToWebinar, GoToTraining. There's, Moodle. There's a Moodle one further down. Event details. I think I skipped it. Moodle course, there it is. Moodle course, that's the Moodle course details. And then the registration links for GoToTraining and GoToWebinar. Okay, so you need to make sure you add all of those emails, those links in your emails. So when someone registers, or in the registration reminders as well. You can send out those reminders the day before or the week before with the links as well. Okay, I think I went back too far, sorry. Here we go, customize emails. Also, there are automated emails, and there are 2 automated emails that you can enable and send from here, from the events module. User notification, eLearning course complete, and admin notification, eLearning course complete. So the user notification obviously goes to the user that's registered. They get an email to say, thank you, you've completed your course, or you completed the webinar. Now you've got 2 CPD points, whatever you want to put in there. But if you're an administrator and you want to mark off their attendance, maybe you'll get the admin notification, eLearning course complete email, so you can go and mark their attendance manually if you decide to do that. So those emails are also in the within each email, within each event emails tab, or in the default emails. You can set them up as you wish. Just towards the bottom, there are the 2 emails, eLearning course complete emails there. So there's some automated emails relating to that. So great, admin, you've set it all up, ready to go. Now what happens? What is the user process? So the user, the person, I shouldn't call them users, that's not necessarily the case, the student or the member, they register for the event on the website. So on your website, they click on do the normal registration process. They pay for the event, they receive an email with a link to the course or webinar. They log on to Moodle or GoTo. They click on those links and it takes them to it. They complete the course and attendance is marked based on the settings that you had in your event. Okay, so that's the general overview of how the process works for the user. So again, they register for the event as per normal on any other event you would create. Okay, they make payment as they normally do. They get the links, and the links are not only in the emails, we will also template the links to display in the My Events section of your website. So if they ever lose the email or can't find the email with the link, they can always log on to your website, go to the Member Center, go to the My Events section, and they can find the link in there. So for example, here's my event that I've created, how to create an event webinar, and there's the link. It might look different on your websites, obviously, with the styling, but this is the general process. Okay, so it's also handy. So letting them know in the email as well, you can go to My Events and the link will be there, ready for you. Excellent. So they go on, they do their course, their Moodle course, and go to attend the webinar. What happens then? Attendance is marked, as we've already talked about, certificate applied, CPD points applied, and they get the eLearning completion email. Great, all done. Administrators, you can view the Moodle registration list and the users in the Moodle section. So if you are under events, you go to Moodle, you'll see a list of your courses as per this screenshot. So you might have a list of courses. You can click into any of those courses and you'll see a list of users, so people that have registered and whether they're complete or incomplete. So that's for Moodle. GoTo is slightly different, little similar in the way that you can see a list of webinars that are synced to your GoTo, a list of registrants from that list of webinars. So you can see how many registrants you've got so far. And this is an example of a list of webinars that are upcoming, but you can also filter the list based on completed ones as well. You can click in any of those webinars in that list and see a list of users that have registered and their status. There's also a button on that page that says View on GoToWebinar, and it will take you to a link within that. It will link you to the GoToWebinar page with that list of registrants in there as well, which is quite handy. So some notes, just a couple of things to note about GoTo. GoTo does not currently work with merging duplicates. Watch this space for development. So if you do have registrants in GoTo and they've created a duplicate profile, we can't merge those at this point in time, but that's going to be looked at down the track. Also, as I did mention this before, but GoToWebinar training attendance is marked whether a user attends 1 minute or the whole thing. So the good thing about GoToWebinar, I haven't seen it on GoTo training, but GoToWebinar does identify, if you set it up this way, you can see how long someone did attend the webinar. So as an administrator or a presenter, if you wish to see, who attended and how long they attended, you can get a list of results out of GoToWebinar as well. So that's about it. I needed to tell you as an overview. It's a really short overview, but if you want more information, we do have some user guides set up. We have for both Moodle and GoTo in our support center. So I'll show you how to access those. So under client support in Association Online, okay, under documentation, the user guides are on the left. For those of you who haven't been here before, and if you see all of the articles, okay, we have Moodle and GoTo integration here. Okay, so if I click on one, okay, there is a user guide as well. Okay, so these are the user guides. Okay, so it's got a lot more detail in there, some troubleshooting notes about how it works. So if you are interested, you want to know more, go and have a look at those user guides if you want more information. So what's next? Do you want to use Moodle? Do you want to use GoTo? If so, how do you get started? First thing you should do is either create a support ticket and ask for a quote, or in the survey that comes out to you, the little short survey that comes to you after this webcast, you can ask for a quote in that survey as well. And Maddie, the lovely Maddie, who I think is on with us today, she will provide you with a quote. And then any relevant paperwork to be signed and returned back to us. We schedule for an install. Obviously, if you're already, now this is also dependent, if you're already using GoTo and you already have an account with them, then we can install it. If you don't, then go and do that first. That's probably the first thing you should do. Same with Moodle. And Moodle, you'll need a host as well. Then we install it and you download the user guides to set up and start using that feature. Okay, so it's fairly simple. It's just a matter of getting it ready, getting it installed, and getting started. And we will support you through that process as well. So that's it for today. Thank you for joining me. Our next webcasts are the 17th of April at 2 p.m. We are looking at a bit more detail around the membership setup. Okay, so for those in the membership world, that might be relevant to you and how some of those settings work. And then on the 22nd of May at 2 o'clock, we're going to have an e-knowledge repository overview. So that's a document library that you can create for you, a searchable document library you can create on your website. Okay, great. I think we're ready for questions. Thanks, Marla.